Morning, everybody. I'm Andrew Jewett. I'm joined by Matt Miles here, one of our co-founders, Rudy Cortez, another co-founder, and one of our advisors, Luke Skludarek, who's in Switzerland. The three of us co-founders are here in California. We wanted to do this live Q&A to answer some of your questions that we've been getting from Telegram, Twitter, and just through the website. So I'll start it off. I think we'll just do a kind of a conversational piece. We'll ask a question and we'll just kind of chat about it. And just a reminder that we are in the private sale mode right now. If you're interested in signing up for Property Coin, please go to our website, propertycoin.re, and follow us on Instagram, Telegram, and Twitter. So first question comes from Jess from Telegram. It is, how do you find properties, and what makes a good property investment? So given that Rudy is our expert project manager on the acquisitions and rehab and flip side of things, we'll turn that one over to him. Rudy, do you want to take that one?
Sure. So how do we find properties? We find properties through different ways. Obviously, we have our proprietary software called Sherlock, and that's a huge source of properties that we go through, and we have other proprietary technologies that help us sort through that. We also find properties through relationships out there. You know, we're making relationships with agents on the ground and other people that are trying to source deals for us. Those are the ways we find them. What makes a good investment property? You know, we're looking for something that's distressed, whether it be a distressed seller or a distressed property. And what that means is either maybe the property needs some work, maybe needs some upgrades, that makes a good property, or the seller needs to sell quickly, and we can buy something under market value. That's another indicator we're looking for. So quick and simple answers for those questions.
Yeah, I'll just add, I mean, what we're looking for is a house, you know, another spin on the same thing, is a house where we can add value and in a way that's, you know, profitable for us to do so, makes the house more attractive, makes more people interested to buy the house. That's the type of property we're trying to buy.
Yeah, and
by add value, he means like we're gonna either upgrade the interior by doing upgrades like the kitchen, the bathrooms. Sometimes we'll do windows and roof and things like that, but those are the kind of upgrades that we're looking at.
Yeah, and I'll just add, you know, one of the things that we think is really valuable is we've got the team and the systems in place to manage those properties once we do find a great property. So Rudy and his team collectively have managed over 3,000 properties, property flips in their careers, we estimate. So a really experienced team in-house that we know how to do this, and this is our primary business. And so, you know, not only is Rudy and team adept at finding those properties, but once we do find them, they're experts at actually performing those rehabs and managing the whole process of getting it from acquisition to disposition. So on to the next question. This one is from Bobby from Telegram. What happens to the Property Coin portfolio if the real estate bubble pops? Matt, you want to handle that one?
Yeah, I'll talk about that one. Good question. So Property Coin is backed by assets, and the coin holders derive, you know, profits from our investments. So, and it is our core business to make property investments. So what happens when the market goes down? Really good question. You know, the first thing to kind of note is we're owning houses only for on average 6 months, because our strategy is to buy the houses in some form of distress before fixing them and reselling to someone else. So we only own houses for about 6 months on average. The other thing is we're buying houses in markets that we think are more desirable than average. So if you hear about, you know, the statistics that are talked about in the United States are, you know, macro level property pricing. You know, prices across the U.S. went up or down by X%. The markets that we're in, we believe, are more desirable markets. We'll have better kind of support levels for the pricing of homes in the markets. That's one thing. The second thing to note is, because we only own the houses for 6 months, on average at any one time, we only have, you know, our entire portfolio is kind of 3 months from being liquidated. So we're going to be in and out in 3 months, you know, as you start hearing about kind of some sort of property distress. You know, the third item is, you know, we've bought these houses at what we believe to be significant profit levels. And so I would argue that, you know, a decline in property values in our markets would first and foremost kind of just have the effect of eating into our profits, so make a less profitable trade. And then, you know, but that said, if if we did lose money in, in trades generally, that's not the, that's not the absolute worst thing in the world, because we're going to live for another day, right? We're going to be constantly keeping an eye on what's going on in the market. We're examining properties every day for acquisition. As we, as the size of our portfolio grows, we're going to be selling on a very regular basis, and we're going to see the uptick as well. So I would argue that, the primary impact would be lowering our profitability on trades that we own, and where there is some exposure for potential loss, but we're also going to benefit on the back end as the markets go back into an upswing. I don't know, Andrew or Rudy, if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I got something to add to that. I think if the bubble does quote unquote pop, like Matt said, I think our portfolio is protected because we're buying significantly below market value, and the significant drops that we've studied won't even affect the properties we're buying. On the other side of it, if the market pops, quote unquote, then that means there's going to be distressed sellers in the marketplace, and we're going to be like in the perfect position to take advantage of those people that need to sell right away, or distressed, or some distress in the marketplace. That is what we buy. So we're going to be in the perfect position to take advantage of that, and basically reset our inventory, buying at lower levels and being able to pick up all these distressed properties. So it's I think on both sides of it, if the property market is strong, we can take advantage of it. If something happens in the market, we're in position to take advantage of that as well.
Yep, cool. So I'm just going to read the next question, which comes from Mike on Telegram. Is this the first company that makes tokenized securities under U.S. law?
I'll take that one. So I don't think it's the first securities token. I think there's T0 and Blockchain Capital that have had securities tokens, but what Property Coin is the first large-scale asset securitization or tokenization of assets on the blockchain. We've seen a number of I'll call them real estate tokens out there, but really what those are is future use tokens, a utility-based token. This is a true 100% asset-backed token. We are going to use 100% of the net proceeds from our token sale to buy assets that we identify and we manage. It's really important to remember that this is a professionally managed portfolio of assets. Rudy and team are professionals. Dan and his team are professionals, and
on the loan side,
and we've managed this business at scale, and our company exists. So, while we're not the first securities token, we are the first asset-backed token that we've seen out there, and doing it on a large scale. Our goal is to make this a billion-dollar platform in the future, and we want to grow this thing responsibly. So we're doing this in phases. We want this to be a large-scale project.
Yeah, just to add to that, I mean, a critical difference between us and other kind of real estate platforms, I'll say that the other real estate platforms that we've seen are either for title registry and those type of projects, easing the sales process of transactions. That's one kind of category. A different category that we've seen are teams that are not necessarily involved in and have spent their careers like we have in investing and financing real estate assets, selling tokens and collecting a big pile of money to say that together with some third parties that they will identify or have identified will buy assets, and now the assets that they buy, token holders can use their tokens to participate in those projects. I would argue that those people are probably, I'll just say, not as qualified as us, and I feel very confident in saying that. And the second thing is that causes work on the part of the token holders, right, to kind of stay aware of what's going on, participate in transactions or not participate in transactions. I don't believe, our product is meant to be much more convenient. We're going to professionally manage a portfolio utilizing the funds. All someone has to do is send us their funds once, and we take care of it from there.
Yeah, our answer bled a little bit into our next question, so maybe this is just a further expounding upon that. But Teresa from Twitter asks, can you explain the benefit of being backed by assets? So we touched a little bit on that, but Matt, you want to further go on?
Yeah, a couple things. So I mean, look, when we say that the coin is backed by assets, so 100% of the net proceeds are going to be utilized to buy loans in real estate in accordance with our core business. And we're buying those assets because we think that they will earn profits. And when the profits are earned, it's shared with the coin holders. So what that has the effect of doing is a natural increase in the value of assets owned by the coin holder community over time. And we're going to publish every month, so investor reporting every month that tells people about kind of summary of activity that's gone on in the prior month, as well as what the value is per coin of all the assets that we own. And so I think that that's supposed to also cause kind of a relative floor valuation to the coin. It's supposed to be more, the value of the coin, the market value is supposed to be more anchored to, in some way, anchored to the value of the assets owned, and should have less volatility than, I mean, there's been catastrophic volatility in other cryptocurrencies recently. And we think that by virtue of being backed by assets, it should be more stable. Anything else, guys, to add to that?
No, I think that covered it.
I think maybe I can just add to this. I mean, what also makes property coin unique, I mean, there aren't really many security tokens, and I think with utility tokens, you have to create value of the ecosystem, or make people want the token so that they can use the piece of software or benefit from certain access. And if you look at where the crypto currency scene is going, is definitely going in direction of securities. So either the tokens that are currently sold as utilities should be classified as securities, and tokens that are now being launched as utilities are less successful than last year. So definitely the trend in the market is towards securities, and being asset backed kind of puts property coin in the property category with maybe top 3 or top 5 other security tokens that are currently being launched or in preparation for an ICO. And we'll definitely see more of this type of tokens this year, and less probably utility tokens going forward.
Yeah, for sure. We're from our previous experience, in structuring, Wall Street type trades, we've gotten a lot of feedback from our former colleagues and friends that this is really, really interesting, and what we're doing is seems to be the future, and we certainly believe it. We think securitized tokens and securitizing assets on the blockchain is the way that the traditional securities market is going, but is most certainly the way the tokenized and token market is going. So I agree.
Yeah, I want to mention one other thing. Our business of fixing and flipping properties is something people can kind of understand, right? I mean, there's been in the U.S. in particular a lot of television shows about this in the last 10 years, and people can kind of understand taking a beat up asset, beat up house, making a lot of cosmetic improvements, and then reselling that, and why that might make money. That's what we're doing. I would argue that to our knowledge, our coin is the only way for people to invest in an institutional fix and flip platform strategy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so next question comes from Ayant on Telegram. Why are you currently not live on any exchanges, and when will you be listed on exchanges? So it's a kind of age-old catch-22, right? ICOs or exchanges typically don't want to listen to any ICO until they've A, completed their raise, and B, their raise is big enough for them to potentially make a profit off of. So that's kind of the traditional route, is you do your ICO and then you're listed on an exchange. That has been true for most utility tokens and kind of currency tokens. I think that's changing for security tokens, and obviously, as we are a security token, we've been in contact with all of the major exchanges that are focusing on securities going forward. We're working with them. We are kind of in active negotiations with them. I can't say exactly which one we will end up working with. We may work with all of them, but I can't give you any insight just yet because we're not done with that. But our hope is that Property Coin is listed on security exchanges in the U.S. and on other exchanges that are focused on providing, investors with the ability to trade securities tokens, and that's a challenge. That's something that I think anybody who's issuing a securities token these days is having to deal with. So
yeah, I'll just add. I mean, look, we're taking efforts to kind of speed up the process relative to what's typical, right? We don't want to leave this kind of as an unknown. It's better from our standpoint. We understand that it's better from the token holder standpoint to be able to announce partnerships and add some clarity around that. So it's something we're working hard on.
Yeah.
So just, I think the last kind of question that we had in advance, and maybe there are others. So if anybody is watching has questions that they'd like to submit, Luke, what's the way in which people can submit questions right now?
I mean, either on Telegram or YouTube. There is a comment section next to the video, so both channels work. We're looking at both.
So I'm gonna just read the last question here. How do we know what properties our money has been invested into? You want to take that one?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So first and foremost, there's going to be a monthly report of all assets owned by the Property Coin entity. That will have a few assets a month, which we highlight. So in order to give people just an understanding of where we are in the process of flipping houses and just kind of show you some of the fun before and afters, we're going to be highlighting a few of those properties. Unfortunately, as we start to scale this, that will get a bit challenging in providing a asset by asset, and frankly that there's some legal issues with showing each specific asset on one report. But I will say,
we're not allowed to, and nor would it be good kind of. It would not be, for privacy reasons, we're not permitted to share the actual addresses.
Yeah.
But we will be talking about it in summary form, and we are exploring kind of partnerships with blockchain title registry organizations. I think it would be pretty cool to have some sort of third-party, verification of the record. So it's something we're kind of looking into presently, while also trying to, maintain privacy-related issues of personal information.
Yeah, and that's especially relevant when it comes to the loans that we're writing. There's all sorts of privacy issues in the U.S. of releasing that information, so we just need to be very careful with that. But look, our background is as former investment bankers issuing asset-backed securitizations, and we think that the form of report that we've created is very much similar to the way that those securities have been reported for years and years and years. And so we want to provide transparency to the fullest extent possible without violating any privacy laws. So we have to toe that line a little bit. But as Matt said, we're in discussions right now with some parties about blockchain titling and registration of the buys and sells on the flip side, and then the buys and sells on the loan side too. So more to come on that, but right now the best way is to just look at the monthly reporting.
Yeah.
Just to add, right now, if you want to just look at it, you can follow us at Property Coin on our app, on our Instagram, or on our Facebook. And we're actually updating. Sometimes we'll get pictures of contractors actually at work or properties in the renovation process. So it's a fun way. You won't see exactly what property it is, but it's a fun way to look at what exactly we're doing, how we're adding value, and where Property Coin's money is being invested.
Cool.
Right.
Luke, any other questions that came from parties watching the video?
Not at the moment, but maybe you can just tell how people can get involved. I mean, as on Telegram, and also kind of what sort of contacts you're looking for, of course, including investors. It would be useful to know kind of what would be the next steps.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, Telegram is probably the best way to ask a question and get some feedback. So We will post that, but that's available on our website, propertycoin.re. Somebody is always manning that, and during the U.S. hours, I'm typically available to answer questions. So if you want to get in touch with us, that's the best way. I think what we're really looking for right now is investor support. We're in negotiations and private talks with investors about investing a little bit larger dollar volume right now, but it certainly doesn't hurt for people to go to our website and get whitelisted, so that you can be first in line when May 1st comes. What else? What am I missing?
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, just, we're, sign up for updates. If you'd like to invest, please whitelist. If you're looking to invest a larger dollar amount, please contact us, Gus. And
sorry, Andrew, there is one quick question from, Kelly just posted from today's discussions. It's kind of a little bit deeper into the listing on exchanges topic, and I think I could also add to it. So the question is, how can you be listed on exchanges if securities can't be listed due to regulation issues? So do you want to start, and I will add to your answer?
Yeah, part of this. So sure, good question. I think the many of the exchanges right now are not prepared for securities simply because they're not asking the right questions about anti-money laundering and know your customer. And so exchanges who now ask the right kind of questions, is it Coinbase that we're using personally? What's the one that we're using personally
for our own trading? Yeah, I mean, we use Coinbase and a couple others, but
so essentially, I think that any exchange who decides to support securities tokens just needs to follow proper know your customer rules, and kind of make sure that they're following local securities regulations for trading restrictions, accredited investor, etc. So it's not that it's not permitted. It's that the securities tokens market is new enough that not many exchanges have followed those procedures yet.
Right.
However, there are some securities exchanges which are being created for that express purpose, and I suspect that as the market for additional securities tokens expands, there will be others join as well.
Yeah, I'll add on to that. Like I think 2018 and 19 and beyond are it's the era of securities tokens, and I think that you're going to start to see a lot of entrants. Already existing participants switch over to a securities capable trading platform, but I also think you're going to see some new entrants coming into the market, and so. Well, like we said before, we don't have any relationships established just yet. We are working on it, and we believe that there's going to be significant support coming for this market as people start to really get a sense of what regulations are required and the value of this market on a go-forward basis. So we believe in this marketplace. It's just, like Matt said, it's still a little early days. Luke, did you have anything you wanted to add further?
I think it's a good answer. So I don't have a lot to add. I would just say that we are also working with few exchanges to, position property coin, but perhaps as a pilot project for them, because a lot of them have been kind of lazy and or maybe not really, or a little bit ignorant to regulation. And they will have to look at securities at some point, and property coin is a perfect case for them to start with, because there really aren't many SEC compliant tokens out there.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Cool.
Awesome. Do we have any other questions, or is that it?
I think we're done.
Okay. Awesome. Well, everybody, we appreciate the time. We will be doing these regularly, and we're actually also posting regular Q&As that we've produced to our YouTube channel. But make sure you're following us on Telegram, Twitter, Instagram, and then please go get whitelisted so that you're ready to go May 1st. Propertycoin.re. And if you have any questions, please submit them to all of those aforementioned channels, and we'd be happy to get back to you. So thanks so much, and we'll see you again next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. See you next time.